with these three indicators, right? Those pillars, you use the tools of, not figuring out, but identifying these things, which is the 3 H's, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell us about that and how to identify?
Yeah. So just piggybacking off, being trained as a firefighter through the Navy. When I was in 8th grade going to high school, we went on our very first vacation to, as a family, very first one, to go visit my dad's side of the family in Utah. And right when we arrived, it was a road trip. I believe it was about a day and a half to, I can't remember the time frame of the drive for my family. My dad led the family trip. When we arrived, literally pulling into the driveway of my uncle's house, my dad's brother, we got a phone call from my grandma, my mom's mom, that our house burnt down, second house fire. And I remember seeing my mom and dad just cry and hug, and I was old enough, right, to really understand. I lost all my Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards, and all the clothes that I had and what I have now is all I got. And they made a decision, let's just finish the vacation, go back and face the music. And
tough.
Very tough, but as kids, smart move. We just enjoyed the vacation, but kind of knew this heaviness of like, what are we going back to? And so when we drove back to Peoria, Illinois, and we pulled up to the house, I remember just seeing just to understand the context of the fire, 2 neighborhood kids, good kids, they just were they had a habit of playing on our front porch with my youngest brother Sean, and that was his friends, and they were there. We happened to have a gas tank for our lawnmower and a mattress we were getting ready to throw away, and they were playing with probably some G.I. Joe figures and lit them on fire. They might have had a little lighter or something, but it caught the mattress on fire. They ran. Thankfully, nobody got hurt. But once they hit the gas can, it blew a hole straight through the house. And it's like 2-story house. You could see from the porch straight through in sunlight. And then it was just melting everything. But the smoke damage, just everything was done. Complete damage. Everything was black. I remember walking in with the fire chief, with my mom, my dad, fire chief, and I forget who else was there, but we walked through as a group to be safe, but to just kind of recognize the damage and what we went through. But while he was walking, and I heard the other fire people talking, they were looking for where it started. Where the fire started. So we didn't know at the time. They're still kind of researching. So what they were looking for, and what I learned in the Navy, as a firefighter, you look for these flash points. Let's just take a match, and it has that little tip in the wood, and you look for a substrate, and you just rub it across. As soon as you see that thing ignite, that's called a flash point. And so that flash point became a tool for me to, use to try to find and identify where these things grow from, where the fire grows from. Because if you can identify where the fire starts, it will eliminate the idea of there's ever going to be smoke. And so, we were walking through, everything was black. Just to kind of close the story on walking through the house, there was a picture on the wall. We seen the piano in the living room was melted. The TV was halfway melted down, all black. I remember walking through and all the little memories I have of my brothers playing and eating lunch, macaroni and cheese, and just the table was black. It was real funky, like what that does to you, right? And everything's black. And then the fire chief is like, man, you guys aren't going to believe this. And I'm like, oh man, what? So you pull the whole family over. There was one picture on the wall that was untouched. Like no smoke, and it had like a smoke ring around it, real funky, but it was like it didn't touch it. Like there was like a handprint, not literally a handprint, not that specific, but like something blocked it. And it was a picture of a pelican with it's a well-known picture if you look it up on like Google, but there's a pelican eating a frog's head, but the frog, his head inside the pelican's mouth, his hands was choking the pelican. And on the bottom it says, never give up. And I remember seeing my mom tear up. I seen, the even fire chief saying, man, I never seen nothing like that, and just being encouraged, knowing that even in the smoke, even in the fire, God's right there, man. God's right there. And that's what I would encourage anybody today, is watching this. Like, you do have to start with honesty. Honesty, super important. But number 2H is humility. Humility kills pride.
Come on.
Humility kills ego. Humility will listen to misaligned effort. And humility will put light on where you need to forgive. Humility is the secret sauce. Honesty is basically uncovers the food, but the secret sauce, man, is humility. Humility is the key. And so now I'm looking on my life and I'm looking at what are the flashpoints on my derails. You know what I mean? Like, or am I even derailing? Maybe I am on the right course. So I got to really search these things. And I believe, me personally, where I discovered one was not letting go of the helm. Like, you get to a point where you're not a Michael Jordan or Steph Curry, but you get to a point where you feel like you have full control of the game. You know what I mean? You've learned enough, and you're trusting your entrepreneurial skills. You're trusting how I'm doing things. And there's a point where you take your belief system of God that he's going to come through for you based on your efforts. And I've been there. I've been there where I wouldn't let go of the helm. And God was saying, let go, and I couldn't do it. It's like, no, I know he's got me. And then I turned into a Jonah. Jonah is, it went through a path of disobedience. And it wasn't like a disobedience like going into sin. It was a disobedience of not letting go of the helm, letting go and control. I'm going to go my way. Not like, I'm still thinking in my head, I'm going God, like I'm still serving God by going that way. And why I say that is Jonah truly believed Nineveh was sinful.
Yes.
So he believed they deserved wrath and not grace. And so he went this way, and he believed he was doing good.
Yeah.
And then he realized, God was still chasing him. And so in my life, in my business, I recognize, as a human, I had to be honest about myself. Like, am I really allowing God to have the helm and I'm serving, and I start paying attention. Am I performing or am I serving? Where's the heart? Not the visual, but where's the heart? Getting up on stage and I used to rap. I used to get super like anxiety and nervous. And it's, why is because I was performing. I wasn't thinking in my head.
That's good.
I'm going up here to serve people. Who cares if I mess up? You know what I mean? But in my head, I didn't want to mess up. So that's a performance tier, right? That's like, and I used to get super anxiety and nervous because I didn't want to mess up. I mean, it was as simple as that. That's simple. Like if I told you that on the surface, like, oh, don't worry, man, you're going to be cool. You know what I mean? But really, I was in a performance category versus a servanthood.
Come on. That's gold, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now I have to literally tell myself, how can I serve today? I'm getting on here on the mic. How can I serve today? How can I serve you, Ray? How can I serve the client? How can I serve my wife? Because performance level, man, that's all affirmation, man. That's what's coming out of that. It's like, are they going to say, hey, you did a good job? Hey, you didn't mess up. Hey, and so I had to like really let go of the helm of performance and who cares, where it goes if you're serving. As long as you have the heart of serving, you're a full vessel and open for God to move and operate, right? And so the third H, man, is not really an action item, but it kind of is. So once you go through honesty and you're just being honest, letting that door open to really dig in deep and be vulnerable, even with yourself, and look in the mirror. Do I really got to brush my beard? Really looking at yourself, and then you're humble enough to say, yes, I do need to brush my beard, just have that humility to say, I am here. Right. And now God can move in, and now you can heal from these things, right? And healing, and why I put it as the third like prong in the three H's is because you can't just like discover, oh, I let go of the helm. Now I'm good. There has to, you know what I mean? Like there has to be a season of allowing God to regroup you, reconstruct you, and get you back on course. It's not like if you're going off course, like Jonah. I mean, he was going to Tarshish, which was 2,500 miles away from where he was, and where God was sending him was only 500 miles. He went that far left, man. And so when he got into the big fish, God, got him in there and then spit him out. It was a journey of healing before he got to Nineveh. That was a far distance. It wasn't like the fish swam all the way to Nineveh. Sure. He didn't just spit him out. Maybe he did. I got to go check. But I believe there's a journey of walking and healing and understanding the mission and the assignment, not the performance or not the reason you think you're going. And so going back to, is the light in you? If the light in you is darkness, how deep is that darkness? I think it's very important, man, to check yourself. Very important to check yourself. And I think, When I was in the starting days of ATN, All Things New, our construction company, what I used to do was I would go to Yelp, right? And I would not study the competition based on their 5-star reviews. I would go read all the 1-star reviews. I'd read them all. And so my goal is, and what I would learn from those was, I'd want to set myself up knowing what not to do.
Right.
Right. And so a lot of entrepreneur owners, a lot of coaches in this world, they want to give you the 5 steps of getting rich and getting out there and get going. But I'm not like, my approach is I want to show you what not to do, or how to protect you from the fall, or how to battle adversity. And so I thought it's very important to throw, these 3 pillars and these 3, categories, and the smoke being very important to recognize, like, hey, if I'm going to go down this lane and strive for the assignment God gave me, the builder of all things, be sure to check these 1-star reviews, and know what not to do. And so that's what these are, man.